Hello there! Welcome to another episode of In the Kitchen with Chris. Today we're going to be making tomato Basquaise. It's a lovely recipe I picked up while visiting the south of France. First thing we have to do is prepare our tomatoes for the stuffing. This is a Roma tomato. So what I'm going to do is take a paring knife and I am going to cut the bottom off so that the tomato sits flat, because obviously they'll fall over in the oven unless you do this. Then you're going to take your paring knife and you are going to cut it at a slight angle all the way around. Okay? Put that on the side. Don't throw it away because we're going to put it right back on top. Then you're going to take a spoon. And all you're going to do is go around with the spoon and you are going to scoop the middle out. Sometimes the spoon doesn't quite do a good enough job, and so I also like to take a paring knife, run once around, and then you can see the spoon will just pop the middle right out, just like that. Now, you can use a Roma tomato, or you can go to the store and buy one of the small vine-ripened tomatoes. And they still have the little piece of vine attached to them, and they look really cool on the plate. So what I would recommend is either a Roma or the ones with the little vines on. They look really cool. So now this is ready for the stuffing. So to make the stuffing, we have a few things. We have some peppers and onions and tomatoes and spices. But what we have to do is we have to prepare the peppers. And the cut is called brunoise, B-R-U-N-O-I-S-E, brunoise. So what you do is you take your pepper and you cut the top off. And then you take your knife and cut the pepper in half. Now, here's the difficult part. If you look at the pepper, you'll notice that it is not really flat. But for you to do a good job at this, you need to flatten out the pepper. And so, as you can see, I took the knife and I actually flattened it down a little bit and removed the parts of the pepper that were sticking up a little too high. So you take your knife and you cut very, very fine strips, approximately 1/8 of an inch across. And so they resemble very, very fine matchsticks. So you do this for your pepper, and then you make a little bundle with the pepper, and you put them all together, and then you take your knife and you run back through them the other direction. And so what you are left with is very, very small squares of red pepper. And the reason that you have to make them very small squares is because the hole on the size of the tomato is very small. And so everything that has to fit inside has got to be very, very small in size. All right. So as you can see, these peppers are ready to go. And so I'll just add them to the ones that I already cut up. And now we're going to cook our filling. Very, very simple filling. This is very impressive. And something that I like about this very much is that you can do this the night before and then put it in the oven on the day of the party. Works fantastic. Take your olive oil, put it in the pan. And then we have to add our onions and our peppers. Turn the heat up just a touch. Now we're going to add our peppers. And we're going to add the green peppers. So what we have in here is olive oil, onions, green peppers, and red peppers. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to cook this for a couple minutes. Then we're going to add our tomatoes. Then we're going to add our spices and seasonings. We've got garlic. That goes in, okay, along with the peppers. We have our tomato paste, which also goes in, okay. There's no real right or wrong order of adding all of this. Just get it all in there, cook it for a few minutes. That's all you got to do. Don't worry about, oh, I forgot to add this. Doesn't matter. Okay, so I'll tell you this for a couple minutes. Now we're going to add our tomatoes. And remember the insides of the tomatoes we just took out? Hey, here they are. Nothing goes to waste on In the Kitchen with Chris. So now we take this and we cook it for a couple minutes. And while this is cooking, I'm going to add a little salt and pepper and just a little bit of sugar to give it just a hint of sweetness. So we add our sugar, a little bit of white pepper, not too much, and a little bit of salt. And here's the secret, balsamic vinegar. Your guests will taste the tomatoes and go, what is that delicious flavor? And only you and I will know. And a little balsamic vinegar. So now we cook this for about, 2 or 3 minutes. It does not take long at all. Because remember, this is going to go in a tomato, and then it's going to go in the oven. So you do not have to cook it all the way here on top of the stove, just a little bit just to start the cooking process. So we're going to let this simmer for about 2 or 3 minutes, and then we'll be right back. Thanks to the magic of television, our tomato filling has cooked for a few minutes, and now we're going to stuff our tomatoes, finish them off, and then take them to the oven and bake them. So what you do is you take your hollowed out tomato, and you take your filling, and you spoon a little bit in there until it's probably about, half to 3/4 of the way filled. And then you take a piece of goat cheese. Cut a piece off, it comes in a log shape, and you stuff it inside of the tomato, just like that. And then you take a little bit of olive oil and you drizzle a little bit of olive oil on the top. Adds a little extra flavor. And then you take the tomato cap piece, place it on, and then put it in the pan with all of my pre-stuffed tomatoes. And now we're going to bake this in the oven for about 20 minutes or so. So as I said before, you can stop right here the night before, and then when your guests arrive, you can put these in the oven for about 20 minutes, and then they'll be good to go. So now we're going to take these over to the oven and bake them. Our tomatoes have been baking in the oven for about 20 minutes, and I'm going to go get them because they're ready to come out. So now what we have to do is taste our tomatoes and serve them to our guests. So we're going to take our tomatoes out of the pan and we're going to put them on a service platter. Now one of the reasons that I like to do the medium-size tomatoes with a little bit of green on top is because they don't have a tendency to fall over. The Roma tomatoes have a slight tendency to tip around a little bit, and those, because they're a little wider, they don't. So when you're serving these to your guests, don't be surprised if you might have to take them and put them against each other and go, oh no, they're supposed to be like that. No one will ever know. So now we're going to take our tomato and we're going to cut it open just so you guys can see what it looks like. So we take our fork and our knife. Oh, look at that. Ooh. Now, of course, obviously the guest is going to be doing this on their plate. And let me cut a smaller piece, because you have the goat cheese flavor with the balsamic and a little olive oil, and all the flavor's just marvelous. Well, that's all we got time for this time. Thanks for coming. See ya.
Thanks, Chris. Now, if you like that, you can check out great video recipes at the Hospitality Administration webpage. Give us a look.